Everybody clear the bird.
All clear. All clear. Roger.
Let's not stand on ceremony, gentlemen. On me. We got a tight hallway here, so instead of a rolling T, let's go ahead and pick up a serpentine formation.
Roger that.
All right, this is the security office right here. Stack up on me.
Ready.
Roger. Noise and light, gentlemen. We got a closed stairwell, 12 o'clock.
You meant to say that you're a pirate, Kendrick.
Sweep forward.
You're up.
You guys hear the Marines coming?
All right, guys.
Yeah, they got to be getting close.
Are we up there?
All right.
Throw down an ADS.
Let's make
Roger.
sure these guys
Inside
have
the
a
door.
Position.
party.
Davey, dropping your shield.
Roger.
There we go. Won't see that coming.
Paul, grab some cover, Paul.
Let's make sure these guys have something to go home and pray to.
We're good. Go.
Roger. Checking left. Rodney, go ahead and get up right.
Right clear.
Roger.
Let's get
On
this
me.
welcome
Wait
package.
for him. Wait for him.
Hey, heads on a swivel, guys. Heads on a swivel. They can be anywhere. They're here somewhere. Contact right.
Blast him.
There they are.
The windows.
Coming in.
Near ambush, near ambush. Rodney, on me. Chris, Chuck, I need you to pick up supporting fire time now.
On your six.
Roger.
Bring in the ring. Pressing fire. I can't get him behind the shield.
Oh, I'm down.
One tango down. One enemy KIA. How copy, over?
Frag out.
Grenades
I
at
have-
the door. Look out. They're
I
coming
have
through the
one
door.
enemy, 12 o'clock, moving to the right to your 1 o'clock, Rodney. You got him?
Enemy down.
Roger that. Sweeping forward. Hey, nice and slow, guys. Nice and slow. Dictated on our terms.
I'm down.
Hey, another tango down. Sectors are clear.
Clear.
All clear.
Roger.
Hey. So that's not all. We're going to show another aspect because we're in space. So the other area that we're working on is combat in zero G. So that's something that both on space stations and on ships you'll be able to turn gravity off and on, or maybe something damaged will lose the gravity generators. Jetpacks, gravity boots, and not in what we're showing, but is part of what will be part of when we actually release the module. There's going to be sort of a push-pull mechanic. Have you ever seen the movie Gravity, where Sandra Bullock's pulling and pushing herself along inside the space station? So you're going to have all those dynamics in zero G when you do combat. So I think we'll go to our zero G part of the demo, right?
All right, nice and slow, guys. I don't want to fall another one like last time.
Watch an entrance A.
Hell of a view. Are you guys looking tight? Get tight.
Roger.
Got a door here. Check it. I'll cover.
6 is clear. Clear.
Roger.
Door's locked.
Roger. All right, get in this hallway.
Watch the hallway.
Contact 12. Oh, it's a hologram. It's a hologram, guys. Hologram. They know we're here.
Watch the grenade. There they are.
I got hit with the EMP, guys. I got hit with the
Here they
EMP.
come.
You guys
Post up.
straight?
Davey gets at the generator.
They're gonna be around this corner.
Contact.
Hey, hurry up and clear this door, guys. Clear the fatal funnel. Time now. Go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Get out of here.
Okay.
Watch on the bridge.
They're in. Hit the grab.
We have multiple contact.
All right, I'm heading up.
Multiple
I'm gonna shut
contacts.
it off.
You guys got a visual? I don't have a visual.
I don't know where they go.
gravity
Where
now.
they go?
Hit it.
I don't got it.
All right, see one.
Make sure to stay near cover, gentlemen. Stay near cover.
Contact.
Are we losing
Alright, 9
gravity
o'clock.
right now?
Gravity's going offline.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, he's got EMP.
Watch.
Hey, get some force propulsion grenades out.
Gravity's down. 209.
We're in 0G.
Contact above the landing pad.
Get him towards the big area.
Contact center of the hangar. Trying to move to you, man. I can't really control it.
I got him in the corner.
All right, corner's down, corner's down. I have contact coming towards me.
One in the middle. Get him in the middle.
Where are they?
Target down. Target low.
I'm down.
I'm down, hit.
One Marine down.
I'm down.
Got one.
Taking serious damage here.
I'm out.
Down.
Another Marine down. Is that it? Come get it.
Outlaw wins. Outlaw wins.
Yeah, and that was the first-person shooter demo. Um, now, here's some things that well, first of all, I want to share with you, like why. Okay, first of all, this is my impression of the first-person demo. I'm gonna break it down a little bit. I want to talk about individual aspects of it, but the first part of this video I want to kind of share with you and why I think that I am a good subject matter expert and why you should listen to what I have to say and why my opinion might be something of value. Okay, because first of all, I was in service with the United States Army. I was an airborne infantryman. Served as an airborne infantryman for a couple of years, and then I progressed on to be a Pathfinder. And so during my service, during my terms of service, I was stationed as an airborne, I was in an airborne unit. I served as a radio operator. I was in an I was in an air assault unit. Okay, but when I was in the air assault unit, I still was on jump status, and that's when I switched over to become a Pathfinder. And I was in a Pathfinder unit. We had a Pathfinder company, and I served as a patrol team member. And if you know anything about Pathfinders, the team members are all NCOs. From there, I had gone to a recondo school, and I served as, when I was in Germany, I served in a recon unit. And all this time, now you understand that this is all uh, real life, first person. I was not a tank operator. I was not a pilot, or was not stationed on a ship. I was infantryman. So to me, my job was real life, first person combat, right? Okay. Now I went to NCO, a leadership school, so that uh, that relates to tactics and strategies and also communication skills. Now, I also did combat lifesaver, which would lend itself towards understanding the hazards and the capabilities of an untrained medic on the field. And combat lifesavers, they're not medics; they are infantrymen with some first aid skills, basically, just to keep your buddy alive. I went to a survival, escape, and evasion school, so I know a lot about being able to um, well, we'll just say I know a lot about being able to sneak away from the enemy. And there's also a bunch of other skills that pertain to that, but we're going to ignore that. And then also there was the various CQB courses that I had been through. I'd been through quite a few urban environment schools where we fight in an urban environment, and I think all of these would relate to the first person shooter. Okay, and so I personally, I think I would be a really good uh, subject matter expert. Now, having said that, understand that I understand that reality is reality and the game is the game. But now, what we're trying to do with this game is make it as real as possible. And my critique will be, how far away is it from reality? I'm not trying to say this is a horrible game compared to another game. I'm not trying to say it's not realistic, because uh, of course, it's a game. It's not going to be realistic, but how close to realistic is it? Okay. And and another thing, I just wanted to say that I have a lot of friends that are either currently active service or they're veterans, and also I've I play airsoft. I know you guys are laughing right now, but when I play airsoft, when I go to the field and I'm on a team and we're trying to overcome certain obstacles and objectives, what happens is I bring all this previous training uh, to the field with me, and I relay it to my teammates. A lot of them, we work together quite a bit, so we work in cohesion with each other. But it's hard for me to unlearn myself. So what I'm doing is I'm using strategies, CQB techniques and strategies while I'm playing airsoft, and that actually helps keep my skills alive. Okay, so that's me. That's why I feel that I would be. That's why I would be a good source of information for first-person shooters. Now, when it comes to this demo, okay, first thing that Chris Roberts talked about, and this is this is now where we actually talk about the couple of videos. You only got to see one of the versions of the video. You had to see the other. You go to either their Twitch channel, or if you were lucky enough to stay up early in the morning and watch the Australian live stream. But the first thing you started talking about was breathing inside your helmet. Okay, when you're inside your helmet, you're going to have a glass visor. Now, that kind of, I'm not an astronaut, I'm not a pilot, okay, but that seems very logical what they're showing, because I did wear NBC masks, and they did have plastic visors in front of my face, and when I breathed on them, or even a motorcycle helmet, when you breathe on it, you will see the fog right there. And a lot of times it doesn't go away, especially like in some airsoft masks, you'll see the fog will appear and it will stay, because these are not good airsoft masks. Now, my personal airsoft mask actually never fogs. I mean, I've been lucky, because I guess I got a good one. But when I was in the service, we had full face masks, and you would see your breath there. Okay, and I liked that up here. When you're running around, you're breathing heavy. Yeah, you're supposed to be fit. Okay, you're going to be fit, and you're going to be uh your level. It's not like you go out there with a 300-pound guy and he's running up some stairs. Yeah, he's going to be like going, oh my God, I can't breathe. But if you're looking at a guy that's trains every day, runs, 5 miles a day, when he gets in that spacesuit or that marine power armor or whatever he's in, and he goes running up those stairs, you're only going to see a little bit of fog because his body is used to that. Where maybe a bigger, less fit guy is going to have more breathing. But in the game, I don't know if they're going to take that into effect. They're going to probably just say that we're all fit, just give everybody the same stats. So, which I don't agree with because I'm more of an RPG guy. I would like to see that some of us have a higher constitution or a higher strength stat than others, but they're making it straight across the board. Everybody's got the same stuff, as far as I know. Okay, that's something that could be tweaked because, this game's not going to be out for years. Okay. Something else they showed, the eyes, where the eyes are modeled separately from the head, which I already knew that. I already knew there was eyes that would look around and stuff, but now they're saying the cameras are basically built into your eyes. So when you look to the left, your helmet will only go a certain amount and the eyes will go the rest of the way. Same thing, like when you're looking down, your helmet will go a certain distance and then your eyes will go the rest of the way. So what will happen is you will see more of your helmet as your eyes go down. Same thing like when you're looking up, you're going to see more of your helmet, which I think is which is perfectly reasonable to me. I'm totally okay with that, and I like that method of perspective. And it'll also give me a level of kind of immersion because when I'm running around and I'm doing my things and I turn left and then all of a sudden kind of like my helmet gets a little bit in the way, that's what would normally happen. That is what happens. Another thing. Now he mentioned the first and the third person perspective, but then Travis Day said something about when you're in a hostile environment, like your first person you will be locked into first person perspective. You will not be able to look around in a third person perspective. So what he's saying is, like, let's say you're in your own hangar and you're running around doing your own thing in your own hangar where it's completely safe. You're going to have the third person perspective and you're going to be able to see your guy in all of his glory. You're going to be able to do whatever you want. But when you actually go into a mission where you're getting ready to land on a base or something like that, you can't go into third person. It's going to keep you locked into first person, which, how can I say this? I'm so happy for that because I hate when like you sneak up and you stack up against a doorway or a wall, you open the door, then you go to third person perspective and change your perspective to look at your character. But like if I take the camera angle and I move it around to look at my character, what I'm doing is I'm actually looking on the other side of this wall. Like I could see right behind this wall, right behind the wall. And that is totally not cool with me. Now, if I have a mirror or a telescoping camera or something, that would be cool, but not third person's perspective. I don't like it, and luckily Chris doesn't like it either, so we're not going to be doing that. That's too gamey, and they're trying to avoid it being a game and putting it more in my helmet, which I'm totally okay with that. Okay. Now, something we noticed that when he was, well, first of all, the guns, the M4, the M4 that everybody's using is not, doesn't look like a modern M4. What it looks like is a G36. It looks like a G36 CQB gun, which I love the look of the G36, so that's pretty cool. But when you fire, first of all, he's holding the magazine, which I'm going to be honest, I did a lot. So, I mean, I didn't have a front grip, or you know, I would put my hand right by the magazine well, and that's what they were showing. The guy was holding it by the magazine well, and I'm and I'm like, that was me. They say don't do it because it puts too much pressure on your magazine where you're pulling the magazine back, and it could cause a jam. I did it. I did it all the time. And so this guy was doing it. And the trigger, it was showing that he kept his finger off the trigger. And then when he went to fire, his finger went into the trigger and he pulled like you burst, finger was out. Burst, finger was out. And that was modeled on the Avatar, which I thought was totally awesome. That just means every little finger is modeled. And somebody was saying that you could shoot people's fingers off and then they wouldn't be able to shoot. And how fun is that and all that? Who knows? I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know. And then another thing that was really evident to me, they didn't really talk about it in the demo. They didn't mention it at all, but I noticed this, is that when he pulled the trigger, short burst, he was doing like a burst of about 5 to 6 rounds. And when he did it, the gun would lift. And it didn't, and another thing that I thought was, I almost creamed when I saw this. It didn't go up straight up. It went up and to the right, up and to the right. And that is a sign of a couple of different things. The way the bolt works when it extracts the round, and the way it twists the round out of the chamber, but also the rifling in the round causes it to go up and to either the left or right. You would think that these guns in the future would have some kind of counteracting spring mechanism to cause to reduce the recoil lift on the thing and have it just go straight back, because we have guns today that do that. But when I did see that kind of shoot and go up to the right and shoot to go up, and I was like, wow, that was great. I liked seeing that. And then when they pulled up the iron sights and he shot with the iron sights, instead of it going like up and to the right, it kind of kept it in a smaller circle. It still didn't go exactly where you wanted it, you know, when you had shake, but it was, instead of this long stream of like pop 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 pop, it was more like pop 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 in a smaller area. And I think that was trying to give the player a bonus for taking the time to look down the sights and fire. And I don't know if that's really as realistic as even at the sights going up, and it should go up, and maybe that first shot, they may be semi-automatic, pow pow pow, perfect. But I thought that was really cool, and I love that as a mechanic, to give you an incentive to aim down the sight. That way the rounds aren't going up and wasting rounds. Now, okay, he did say there's could be a scope or an iron sight. Okay, that's great. Oh, they mentioned that the rounds were modeled individually. Every individual bullet is modeled. This is I'm getting a couple of different videos, like when the one with Travis Day, where he answered a bunch of questions, where he said individual bullets are modeled, and that let's say you've got a magazine of 5 bullets, right? Or no, 30 bullets, and you fire like 10 of them. Well, now you've got a magazine of 20, and so when you take that magazine out, the computer game will model a magazine and 20 bullets inside that. And then you will have to put it in your pouch. I'm sure it's all automated, but you'll put it in your pouch and pull out another 30-round magazine and put it in. Now what's happening is, when you go back to that magazine, it's only got 20 rounds in it, and now you've got 20, which it doesn't just magically go to like 100 rounds that you're carrying. You pull another magazine out and it's fully loaded. There's other games that I play that you do that, like you shoot one round, pow, and now it has 29 rounds. You put it away, you pull another magazine out, now you got 30, and all your future magazines have 30. No, one of these days you're going to pull that magazine out and it's only going to have 29. And that's the way Star Citizen is, and that's awesome. Another thing, also talked about, if your magazine gets hit, it's going to be modeled on your body. So if a round hits your magazine, that's one less magazine that you can load, So I think that's going to be intense. Okay, so now before we go into the demo per se, that you just got finished watching at the beginning of the show, there's a HUD inside your helmet. Okay, and I know that's going to be worked on and that's going to be changed, and this is not laid out exactly the way it's going to be, but it shows your oxygen level, which it should because it's a space game. It shows your power, or not your power level, your thrust fuel. Okay, now that would only be important if you had like a thruster pack or some way to maneuver around, but it was on the hood. I guess it's just for filler, just to make it look like there was something there. And then there was, I noticed there was, your gun was displayed, like what gun you had active in your hand was being displayed up there. And then it had buttons like 1 through 6, or numbers 1 through 6. And if you cycled through your guns, the like if you went from 1 to 2, the gun would change, and it would tell you how many magazines you have available for that, and how many rounds are in the gun. And I thought all of that was kind of cool, but there's been some talk on the forums and stuff about how it shouldn't tell you what kind of gun it is, because you should already know what kind of gun you got out in your hands and stuff. But I don't care. If I pull out a laser pistol and it tells me I got a laser pistol out, so, I mean, it's not a negative, was what I'm trying to say. That's kind of cool, and it tells me that I got my laser pistol out, because in the heat of the battle, I might have 2 pistols, and I pull one out, and then I go, wait a second, I just pulled out my laser pistol, what the hell? Instead of having to look down and go, what kind of pistol did I pull out? No, I could just pull a pistol out, and I could see on my HUD that I pulled out my laser pistol, and I'd have no magazines left or something. That's good information to put on your HUD. That way you don't have to look down or look at your magazine pouches. You could just pull it out, and the computer status on your suit is actually, which is part of your mobiGlas, just kind of automatically tells you in your face. And that way you don't have to go out of your way to try to figure out what you got left or to count your magazines, But the thing on the left side was radar? No, I can't remember. This was all on the right. You had the ammo, Now on the left side, it had, can't remember what it had, if it had anything, because it didn't have like a radar or anything like that. Then you don't have your health. It doesn't tell you what your health is. It doesn't tell you like how much armor you have left or anything like that, because that's not an element. You have armor on, and that gives you so many like points of resistance of damage. So like when they shoot a 20-point damage bullet and your armor can take 10 of that, it'll go pink, 10 of the armor will flake off, and then you'll get a bullet in you, which you'll take 10 points of damage. How many points of damage can you take? Who knows? How much can your armor take? Who knows? That's stuff you don't know. You don't know points like that. Like, people don't know how many hit points they have. Okay. All right. They also talked about, and this happened in the second half of the video that you did get to watch, there was a 0G aspect. Okay, well, they said that you didn't notice, or you didn't see any of this. You didn't see them when they shot. They had recoil and they would fly back. You didn't see that. You saw them floating through 0G firing. Okay. Well, Travis Day said that there will be recoil from your guns that will cause you an impulse. An impulse will move you around. So you could actually jump, I guess, fire your gun, and then start moving backwards. That would be pretty cool to me. That would be more realistic. The pushing off the obstacles or the objects and hanging on to them and using them to go down hallways and stuff, sure, that's extremely cool. But what I really want to see is like ballistic weapons with recoil, moving you around, maybe give you an incentive to have a laser, because it's not going to give you recoil. So it'll be more accurate in a 0G environment, but maybe lasers do less damage than bullets, or something. I don't know. Lasers might do more damage in a vacuum, because that's not what we're talking about. There's 2 things. You got a vacuum, which is the no air pressure at all, or gravity, which is the force keeping you on the ground. If there's no gravity, there's still air in the area. So when you're shooting a laser, it's still having to cut through the air. But hypothetically, let's say that there was vacuum and you fire a laser, the laser should do more damage. It should also have infinite range, but I guess lasers aren't always perfect. Sometimes they do expand, so lasers don't have an infinite range. Okay. Now the in the show, the Ilphonic crew are the ones actually operating the bandits and the Marines, and they did a really good job. I thought they did a really good job. Now, let me say this. They're not military guys. They're not in the Space Marines. They're not pirates. They don't have any kind of real code words. What they were doing was pretending to be Marines. Cut them some slack, man. They were trying to make it seem official and what do you call it, tactical, and they were trying to use jargon that they thought sounded high speed. Okay, and just because they weren't using all the proper terms or whatever, so what? You know, who cares? Maybe their unit uses that kind of jargon. I mean, you know, hell, it's 1,000 years in the future, you know, so don't even, or 900 years in the future, or whatever it is. Don't just give them some slack. Yeah, there are some inconsistencies and incorrect terms that were used. So what? If he says, John, go up to the right, there's nothing wrong with that. If you've ever been in any kind of special operations group, they don't you really use, you know, that it's a different communication style than your straight leg infantry guys. Your straight leg infantry guys say, you know, they don't say that kind of stuff. They just touch and move, and I don't know, you know, Delta Force, special, any of the special ops, SEALs, whatever, they all have their own communication styles. And when you start bitching, complaining about these Space Marines not using the communication style that you're familiar with, then you're just being a retard. You know, don't complain about that kind of stuff. Understand that they're not in the military. Don't be mad at them because they are trying to sound like the military. Hell, it was a demo. They're trying to show off. They're trying to make it sound tactical. And man, I feel sorry for these guys out in the world. You know, if you're you know, there's people out there that complain about the most stupidest stuff. You know, and that's all I want to say about that. Okay, I enjoyed it. I don't care if it's wrong. I enjoyed it. I thought it was. I appreciated them making the effort to try to make it sound militaristic and tactical. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about what we saw in the video. There was a hologram decoy. One of the guys actually dropped a decoy which looked like a pirate. And so when these guys came around the corner, they saw him standing there and they fired at him. And I thought, and then he realized it was a decoy because he wasn't moving. He was just, you know, just standing there, whatever. But the guy shot at him, you know, because first shot, you know, wanted to kill him. Well, guess what? That's awesome. Because what that would do is, if I was the pirate, I would hear the Marines shooting at my decoy, and I would know exactly where they were at. So I thought that was like awesome, just plain old holographic geniuses. And then the EMP grenade. Okay, so these pirates were using EMPs. Well, of course they're trying to show off. They didn't just want to frag everybody, right? Because they were under a script where they had to do a certain thing for the demo. But they threw the EMP grenades, which to generate an EMP, I would think that they would need something larger than the size of a grenade. But remember, this is the future, and I'm just going to push the science back and say, okay, so they created a grenade that can mess with your electronics. Okay, cool. It didn't last very long. It lasted for about 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds. And that would be really cool in the middle of a firefight. But while they were still trying to move down a hall, they got an EMP grenade. They really weren't engaged. That was a waste of an EMP grenade, for one thing. Or these Marines have armor that's shielded against EMP grenades. And the pirates were expecting that the guys hit with EMP grenades would be out of commission for a lot longer. They need to make the EMP grenade. If that's normal and that's what happens to everybody, then that's not going to be an effective grenade. Nobody will use them. It has to knock their electronics out for a while. And who cares if it knocks their electronics out? Because they don't have personal shields. They don't have any kind of target assisting HUD, and the HUD only tells them what gun they're carrying and it tells them how much air they have. So the EMP grenade is pretty much useless. If it was a little bit more substantial, like it knocked your like if it knocked your gun out where you couldn't pull the trigger and shoot it or something, then yeah, hell yeah, man, drop a few of them EMP grenades on somebody and keep them from using their guns. That would be awesome. But EMP grenades in this demo, totally waste. It was a waste. They didn't need to have an EMP. What the hell? Okay, next thing I wanted to say was they had a shield barrier. One of the guys deployed a shield barrier where he put it down and this blue screen popped up. That's pretty cool. But it only came up about the size of a Roman shield, right? You got your Roman medieval shield, right? That's about the size that it popped up. That's not effective. That's not unless you got like 3 or 4 of them, make a wall, or if you're just putting it next to a wall where you have the wall and the shield kind of as cover or something. But he put it kind of like in the middle of in a hallway that was part of the dining room. He put this shield up that didn't do anything. It was bad placement. But the idea of the shield barriers are awesome. I think they need to be a little bit wider. They don't need to be taller, but they do need to be wider, and because guys can crouch behind them or something. But yeah, they need to be wider. And then I think I saw a guy deploy something that looked like a claymore, because in like the hallway right in front of the shield, I thought I saw something get placed down, and somebody made a comment about how this will really surprise them or something like that. So I was thinking that it was some kind of claymore or something, and I was thinking hopefully we have stuff like that. But yeah, so overall, I think the FPS demo was pretty exciting. Learned quite a bit about the direction that they're heading with the FPS, and we learned a little bit about the push-pull mechanics. We learned a little bit about the breathing and the helmet and the way the eyes work and the way the aiming. Yeah, you don't automatically run around with your gun in front of your face like this the whole time you're in the game. Your gun is like way down at the low ready, and then when you fire, you can fire from the hip if you want, and your helmet will have a crosshair, but it's not going to be very accurate because bullets will be flying everywhere. Or you could pull it up and actually aim down the sights, and I thought that was pretty cool. They didn't really show off, and this is something that I was disappointed about. They didn't really show off about how the cover works. We've had a lot of discussion about sticking to walls, or the Arma 3-way where you walk up to a wall and you kind of wait, and then when you go around a corner your gun pops down. They didn't show any of the cover mechanics. That might have been an oversight, because they probably have that worked into the system. They just didn't, or maybe they just didn't feel it was something that was ready to be shown off yet. But I still look forward to the cover system. Okay, and I'm sorry if I was kind of scatterbrained, because I just got back from a Halloween party and had a lot to drink, and I still have a buzz, to be honest. I wish I brought my camera, because there was a lot of cool costumes. I should have brought my camera and showed everybody the costumes that were at this party. But okay. Well, thanks for coming out and checking out this video, and come back and check out more videos, and check us out on YouTube. The links are down there for Twitch and for YouTube, depending on which one you're watching this on. And I'll see you guys in the verse.